when Marty went down, and Marty pitched an unbelievable game in that if he don't pitch his 5 or 6 innings there, we don't win that, because then Dino would have had to come in, and then Donnie would have had to come in off not much rest. So, but yeah, no, that at bat, Folker hit me. I got on base, couldn't feel anything. I was not coming out. No chance. I said, that fucker hit me in the fucking kneecap. That fucking hurts.
Get out of here! I told you, Mr. Drama.
I used to be a ladies' man, but I'm unhappy now. For courting 6 girls all at once, they
Say
used me.
bye-bye, baseball!
My mother said it was naughty, I should take some years back. But I said, if it's naughty, sure it's also very nice.
And the Lolly drops his glove, grabs Dalton. The benches are clearing.
Dust Up with Hilly and Lolly is brought to you by CoolBet. If you got a few extra bucks rattling around in your arse pocket, CoolBet Sportsbook will double your first deposit up to $200 when you use the bonus code DUSTUP. Head over to coolbet.com and get in on the fastest growing entertainment sector in the world. That bonus code again is DUSTUP, one word, all capital letters, DUSTUP. Blair, you're down in Wisconsin right now. You're actually at Circle Tap Bar, which is fucking awesome, man. So what are you at? What's going on down there now?
Did a lot of coaching, came down here, excuse me, when since the pandemic's been going on, obviously the construction industry that I work in isn't going very well. So, Darren called me and said, hey, why don't you come down and help me coach a little bit, the girls in the high school and the club stuff. And, when I committed to that was just after Christmas, or maybe it was over Christmas, over a few drinks probably, usually. And
how most deals get done.
Exactly. Now what happened? Trudeau made that, you come back through the border, you got to go through the hotel bullshit. So I committed to Darren, and here I am, and, just rolled into the Duke season. I'm planning to go back home here in about 2 weeks, after the summer for 2 weeks. That is tentative, but that's the plan right now. So, I came down to coach. I really got into it. Really, really loved it. Actually, it's been fantastic. We won a couple championships. Now I'm into the club side of it. Yeah. So the girls that we coach here in the high school, they missed one game out from the state championships. So
wow.
Now they all play club against all the college people from Wisconsin. So it's good. It's some good ball, I must say. I was very surprised when I first got here.
It's so massive down there, man. Like the high school women's program, softball. Like I wish we had that in Canada. Like, there's so much opportunity and when myself and Malali, when we're down in Frankenmuth, and we'll touch on our time in Frankenmuth as well. But remember, Lolly, we used to coach a high school team a little bit, like, whenever they needed a hand. And we also used to umpire and stuff like that. But like, it's massive. It's massive. So much opportunity for young girls down there in game fast pitch.
Well, we went out. We were driving that white van that Tom Stacy had. I remember that day I almost killed you. We were going, we were driving, and I drove right to, it was a 2-way stop. I thought it was, I didn't even see it. I went through, it was only 2-way stop, so the other way was going. Me and Hilly just right on through on the way home from coaching. We wonder we didn't die that day. But we go out to these parks. I think it was Saginaw or somewhere in Michigan. We go out to coach, and this is a friggin' palace of a complex and stadium. So this is where you play ball? Like, I play in Dunnville. Right, we got a wooden fence from by the ocean. It's beautiful, but they got, I know you could probably put 20,000 people in there to watch a game. It's huge down there, and it's really cool to see you doing that, Blair. That you're down there coaching, giving back to the game, and I'm sure they're really benefiting from having you down there in the program.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit back out of it too. Like Hilly said, it's so massive down here. Like, can't really describe how much effort and time these girls put in. Like, I just give you a quick example. So we won our sectionals and our regionals and all that crap. What happened was you go to the state. So these girls would get up 7 a.m. every morning, before school, and work out for an hour and a half. Then they go to school from 8 o'clock to 2:30, and then on the field from 3 o'clock to 5:30. Every day. This is every day. This is not 4 days a week or every second day. It's considered as professional as I can describe it. It's just they give so much back. So when we lost on a home run in the 7th inning to win state or get to the state. It was kind of tough. I must admit, it took a lot out of me. It took me a week. Darren, God love him, he's still reeling from it a little bit because we put so much time in, and to lose like that. But yeah, no, you get attached. You kind of get the competitive juices going, and your coaching competitive juices going, and you just want to keep going. You want to keep building.
Do you find a difference in that, Blair? We've all been through as players, victories, we know the highs of victories, we know the lows of defeat, especially when you come that close as a player. Was there a difference from you going through that as a coach and seeing, how much work they put in? Was there a difference in being that close as a coach versus a player?
It was a little different in the fact that, when we play, win or lose, we have an effect. We can affect the outcome, or whether it's good or bad, but, being on the sidelines and charting pitches and tipping the hitters and doing this and stuff that we always do. And the girls buying in and doing it and just coming up so short, it just took a lot out of me because I just see how hard they work.
Yeah.
And you see their faces and you see how disappointed they are, especially seniors when they're now they're going off to college and playing. It took a lot out of me, I must say. I'm after losing the world, in IC once or twice and a few ASAs, and we obviously lost a bunch of Canadians. This what ranks up there, just feeling wise, emotional wise, it ranks just as high as those.
Yeah, I'm just starting to get into it right now. I got my young fella involved with Ryan Boland in the weight program and stuff, and you're just volunteering and stuff at this point. You're doing a few clinics and stuff here and there, and Ryan's running these high performance camps and stuff. So I'm just getting my feet wet, getting into it, man. But it's pretty rewarding when you're
absolutely
teaching young boys and girls certain aspects of the game, just even if it's just the fundamentals, and then they catch on and they all of a sudden they improve somewhere and you got a big smile on their face, man. It's pretty rewarding, I must say. And I'm certainly getting the itch. I don't know how many years I got left at this racket, traveling and all this stuff, but as soon as that's done, boom, right into the coaching.
Well, it's kind of gone full circle, especially now you, Hilly, with Weston and all that. And when I think back on, three of us, we've known each other since we're, knee high to a grasshopper, as they say, right? It's Blair. We all, you were the reigning champion Newfoundland ball all the way up through, the guy that we looked up to, best all around ball player in the province for sure for a number of years. Back then, you growing up in small town Harbor, Maine, hotbed of fast pitch. We had Bradley on the podcast before too. He talked a little bit about how special it was growing up out there, how big of an influence having you as his older brother had on him getting into the game still to this day too. When you think back to that now, you're on the other side coaching. We had a lot of help growing up too, and you going from small town Harbor, Maine to everything that you've done in the game now, 20 plus years playing. When you look back on your career from that standpoint, it must be pretty special.
Yeah, you guys will get there too, but I'm a little older. Obviously, that's why you guys had to look up to me, because when I was 15 and 16, you guys were only 12 and 13, still shitting mustard. So I had the same type of thing. Three guys that are 3-4 years older than me, Darryl Joy, guys like that Donnie Clary that I looked up to. So it's kind of reciprocal that way, right? So I followed their lead and then jumped in the junior, and then you guys came along and jumped in, and it just snowballed from there, right? So you can't deny talent. That's the one thing about Newfoundland is that, if you're good enough, you're going to play no matter what town you're from, where you're from. But yeah, no, the giving back part of it, yeah, it's small town. It's funny. Harbor, Maine produced obviously Sean and Bradley and Kyle and myself, and we don't have a ball field. There's no field there.
No?
Jason don't know that. Jason's mom's from out there, so
yeah.
There's no field.
It's actually amazing how many
that's nuts.
high quality senior ball players, who are now retired, that actually come from CBC, like people that are long. You're talking about the Clarys and and with DJ, who's obviously a elite, national team player, but so many other you think of guys like Jason McHugh and
Johnny Farrell.
Johnny Farrell, all these guys, and it's crazy how many good ball players come from that spot. And it was certainly a hotbed of softball back then, and still is a hotbed. And I touched on it with Bradley, because Bradley was talking about, having you'd always make him catch for you, and you'd be throwing him spinners and trying to beat the hand off him. But I remember being out in the fields, and I don't know where it was. I don't know if it was Holyrood or wherever the hell it was, and it could have been a fundraiser. Barry might have put off a fundraiser, or Brian Dunphy or someone like that. And I remember playing catch it, and I'm like, fuck this guy. He makes the ball move. He's throwing me the ball, but it's moving, it's going up and it's going down. I was like, how the fuck's he doing this, man? It's pretty cool. I remember those days long ago. But yeah, man, you were fortunate enough to grow up in such a high quality softball spot, I guess, for Newfoundland.
Yeah, I got lucky that way. And, just I guess being so close to St. John's too kind of benefited. Remember, Lolly, when you were coming up through midget playing junior, when we're all trying to beat the shit out of each other every second week.
Yeah.
You having to drive in the summer months, you go home from school and whatnot, so you have to drive from Placentia every day, more often than not by yourself.
It was crazy. Well, when we were going up through the program, like you said, if you're good, Doesn't matter how old you are, where you're from, they're going to find a game for you. John Hill was big for that for us. I know Jim Dunphy, the legendary coach in Newfoundland, was big for that for you there too. And we got to play either Canada games or junior and senior all at the same time. We're doing double headers. And yeah, I got to stay at Hilly's house a lot of it because I just got sick of going over the highway, but it was every single night, 6 nights a week driving an hour and a half to play. But it didn't seem like a grind or a chore then because it was so much fun. Probably wouldn't catch me doing it now, but it was fun, and it ended up paying off. And it's cool for me having both you guys on here because knowing where we've gone in the game and where it all started. But two of you guys got the start, like a lot of number one best ball players on the young teams. You played batted third and pitched, both of you guys, and you're, for your age groups, the best pitchers in Canada. But then you had the larger dreams of going to the ISC, representing Newfoundland, going playing these national events. And I'm interested to talk to both of you guys about at what point did that transition from being primarily a pitcher to now changing your game, changing your approach to focusing more on, okay, you'll still pitch locally, but to make your stamp internationally is going to be as a hitter and a player. And I'm just interested, Blair, to know, when did that happen for you? Because you were dominant in every aspect of the game. So when did you kind of shift from being a pitcher to focus more on the hitting, positional play, and all that?
Well, yeah. And Lolly, I'll give you props here for this because it wouldn't have happened. I mean, I can't speak that it wouldn't. It probably would. It probably wouldn't have happened. But I mean, you remember this. I was playing. I mean, me and Jace went to Frankenmuth. You came town line. The whole reason why was just to expand, to get noticed, to build towards playing to a top team and potentially get into a national team and win an ISCs and ISF and all that stuff. That was the ultimate goal right off the bat. But 2006, I remember I was at Mudd and I got a call from Bob Nuttick, and he says, "Hey, Bob Nuttick here. You want to interested in come and join the River Sharks?" And before he had the word "arcs" out of his mouth, I said yes. I said, yeah. Because the year before I played in Heflin, and I pitched myself stupid.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, we played 9 weekends when I was at Heflin in 06, and we played 5-6 games in the tournament. I pitched 4 of them, and we had Brian Urquhart that year, and he pitched, the other 2. So I was pitching quite a bit, and the hitting was coming along. I started to get noticed hitting wise, and then Dr. Bob, we call him, called me and said, "Hey, you want to come join?" I said yes. And I said, "Hey, how did you get my number?" And he said, "Well, Steve Mullally recommended that we pick you up." So I said, "Okay, thanks. Yeah, very good, all the stuff." And then as the season went on, me and Lolly would fly back and forth and stay in the same room together, which is another story.
Oh, there's 1,000 of those, man. That was a really special year, and we've talked about it on probably every broadcast. Your name comes up. You and I, we traveled a ton back in the day, cutting our teeth. That year in particular, like, how freaking cool was that? We moved away, right? And even in 2006, I lived with Robbie O'Brien, but then we got the chance, to do what Colin Abbott does. They'll fly you to play. Like that, in our mind, that was the next step of making it. Oh man, we don't need to move away for the whole summer. And then with you and I, not every ball player that's leaving on the weekends gets to travel together. You normally just travel with your teammates, and maybe you'll run into the boys on the way there or back. So we're traveling partners for a bunch of years and got to go through a lot of experiences. You're a better roommate than Hilly ever was. In there, the beers are always in the cold. You get coffee in the morning.
I was just about to say, boys, I can come back in 20 minutes or so if he wants to catch up and have a yarn. Well, Lee.
Well, see, we just fall back in the old hat, Hilly, and you're boring, man. You're just boring. We're not throwing it to you.
I thought you were gonna fucking ask me when I decided to give up pitching.
Well, fuck the amount you talk about pitching. You haven't given up yet. I think you still got dreams of being on the cover of the fucking guide.
But I will speak to that really, really quick. I was like Blair. I was back in the day, I was pitching. Like Sean O'Brien said, man, if you get a rise ball in bantam and midget and first part to junior, you're not gonna. Not that I had a great fucking rise ball, but it's going to get you through. It's going to get you through a lot of those games, right? But I remember in 2003, my first ISC with Frankenmuth, and it was in Kimberley. And I went up to the top diamond, and I watched this fella named Andrew Kirkpatrick pitch for the Owen Sound Crunch. And he was throwing fucking pellets. And I don't know who he was playing, but I mean pellets. I asked somebody, I was like, "How old is Andrew?" And he was like, whatever it was. He was like a year older than me. I was like, that's how good he is. And he's only 1 year older than me. I was like, boys, where's me bat? I'm going back to the hitting. Put the pitch and toe away. I'm going hitting.
So Yeah, no, getting back to that. I know, like I said, Lolly, you said, you asked me that question, and just stuff is flying everywhere, right? All the memories come back, all the, you don't want to leave stuff out. But yeah, so, that was when I decided to try to go play in a top 6, 7, 8 team to pitch. Probably not going to go any further than I did at Heflin as a number 2-ish. And so, played that year. I mean, I did pitch a little bit with Aurelia that year because we played probably 10 weekends. Remember, we played the ISC Travel League in Ontario. So Denny would, typical Denny, get in there on Friday. Here, Robbie, here's 5 innings. Okay, here, Frank, here's 5 innings. And then, okay, Blair, here's the other 2. After playing third and had 5 at-bats and run around the bases, here you go. Here's the ball. And God love Denny. And I heard listen to you talk to Robbie O about Denny a little bit. And kind of like one small memory. And Lolly will attest to this, Hilly. You would never have a chance, unfortunately, never had a chance to play for Denny, but it was one of those Newfies didn't ever play Saturday morning.
Nope.
Never.
Never.
Didn't matter if it didn't matter if it was Aurelia versus the farm, Aurelia versus Bo, or Kitchener versus Bo. Didn't matter. Me and Lolly were on the end of the bench waiting for the next game.
Yeah. You're at Circle Tap right now. So I remember, I think it was that year we were down there playing in the Boys of Summer, and same thing. We had the Friday night game, and Robbie pitched. And we won. We went into the bar, had a few beers, and I think we had a 9 a.m. game. But Denny came up and said, "All right, boys, you got it off tomorrow. You go ahead. We're playing a weak team, whatever it was." So we went out and had some team bonding as we do, and then we go back. And the next day, Robbie wasn't in good shape at all, right? And he wanted to sleep in. He was rooming with Sean, and Denny came in. Denny came in and said, "Oh, Sean, big boy, just said, no, let Robbie take the game off and rest up, and we'll come back and get him. He'll come back for the 1:00 game." Sean said, "Fuck that. Get in there. Get him up. I don't care if he goes down there in his underwear. He's getting down to that fucking ball field." And sure enough, but Denny was always good like that, man. As good as he was as a coach and knowledgeable about the game, team chemistry, friendships, bringing the team together, having the fun off the ball field was so important to him. And it was awesome to get to do that. And I know you had a great relationship with him too.
Yeah, I miss him. He was one of a kind. Yeah, he was good. The one I know you touched into it with Robbie, so I won't dive into it too much. But he was one of a kind, and I'll miss him. And the year this funny story. Lolly, remember we flew to Ontario for like a meet and greet at Robbie's bar that year?
Yeah, that was great.
I think that story came up in one of the podcasts
when we were rooming with him, Blair.
I won't regurgitate what happened. It was the next morning after a nice team bonding night at Robbie's bar there. It's the same bar, the Goofy Newfie.
Still there, boy.
Me and Lolly were in bed just giggling because we didn't know what was going on. And all I hear is the shower going in the hotel room. We're like, what is going on? Right? So me and Lolly are giggling, talking jokes and whatever, telling jokes and stuff. And all I hear is just a big bang. A big loud bang. It's like the toilet broke in half or something. So me and Lolly are screaming at Denny. Denny's in the shower trying to have a shower. He might have fell down. And we're just screaming, laughing like this, screaming at Denny. You okay? All of a sudden, just hear quiet. And you can hear Denny. What the fuck do you guys want?
Oh man, he was the best. He was the best.
That was one of the funniest stories I remember. Yeah, so that was good. No, yeah. I don't want to get off topic. The pitching is done. Had a nice little.
Well, that's the thing too. I mean, if you're unless you're, because call a spade here, man. Me and you, we want to hit, and we always did want to hit. And so once you get to a certain level, I mean, especially if you're like a high-end, top-quality pitcher, your coach is not going to throw you into hitting lineup for chance of injury. Like you're obviously a valuable asset to your team. So unless you're like a Kirkpatrick or like a Dino or a Brad Underwood, which me and you are not.
Well, for one, we're not left-handed, so.
But yeah, so that all played in my decision. I was like, you know what? Like I'll continue. We'll pitch locally and stuff like that. But going back to, I mean, you certainly have potential to be a great pitcher. You were a very good pitcher in a junior team. But I remember growing up, I wasn't even in junior at the time, just watching yourself and Whitty go at it head to head. It seemed like every provincial final or league final, it was yourself against Sean Witt. And I think you might have had Robbie Green with you guys as well, CBC at the time.
Yeah, we picked him up a couple of times. Just bench had no team, but yeah, go ahead.
And I think DJ did a little bit of pitching back then as well for you guys.
Yeah,
but,
not as much when I came on because he was just too valuable at short. But
yeah, that's CBC Junior Canadians and that Labatt Junior Blues rivalry, man. That was something else, and those were good ball games. And I mean, Whitty was throwing hard back then in junior. Like he was the man. He was throwing gas.
He was, yeah, and down in the pit of Kitty Bitty playing in the playoffs down there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I remember it well. Are you coming back to Newfoundland at some point for the end of the season, or are you staying in Wisconsin? Or
tentatively going back now after the summer for 2, maybe 3 weeks, depending on. Depending on the annual rule. I know Newfoundland rules are a little sketchy right now, but the quarantine. I know Canada is different. I'm fully vaccinated, so I can come and go as I please. But getting in Newfoundland is a little touchy, so I got to look into that a little bit more. Then I'll come back for the ASA and IC. Just as I'm sure you guys you're coming through, right, boys?
Yep. Yeah, we'll be down there too.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. Anyway.
I think it'll be good to go back to Newfoundland. I'm actually going down whatever day this is, July 7th. We're recording this one. I'm going down next Wednesday to Newfoundland. Okay. So fully vaccinated, same with Jane, and we get to go down. And Teddy falls under us, where he's under 12, and
right, he's under 12.
Yeah, you can if you're fully vaccinated, you can get in and go on. And I think that's the same if you're coming from the States. I'm not sure, but yeah, we're getting geared up to get down there too, man. But have you been able to play during the week down there too? Is there local ball going on? I know you mentioned. I think you got a bunch of the Argentina guys down with you now.
Yeah, there's a league in Kimberley on Thursdays, but it didn't start till middle of May, and the third week of May or so. And I was still coaching, so that was the commitment. First was the coaching, and like I said, we practiced every day to gear up for the games every second day. So I didn't really get out there a whole lot. Our Circle Tap team, we played We hosted a little tournament there in mid-May. A couple of local teams, the Bar Buzz, the Reapers, and all these teams from down the southern part of the state. They came up. So yeah, I was all right. Got some at bats there, but it was still a little chilly for ball, in my opinion. And then we went to Grafmeyer. Grafmeyer was a good tournament. A lot of good teams. That Latin team that came up from Texas were good. Kegel were good with Schreier and one of the couple RGs on that team. Yeah, so I got to play a couple tournaments. Played in Minnesota last weekend, so I got to have more bats there. But now it's starting to ramp up, as you guys know. Like first week of July is when she goes almost nearly every weekend.
I think there was an announcement, and we had Blair Setford on last week or the last podcast to give us, or a couple ago, to give us an update. And I know they extended the non-essential travel till July 21st. So after that, I think we're hoping anyway that it's going to be all open. I think that'll make a big difference for obviously all the Canadian players traveling down. You might see a couple more teams. I think last time I looked at the list, there was 20 odd teams maybe registered for the ISC. So
oh, really?
Yeah. So what is it like when you're playing there now? Is there any restrictions or COVID protocol, return to play type stuff that you have to adhere by down there? Like it looks, I can only see, I've been following along on the, what was the last weekend? I think it was Peligro. I follow along on the streams and stuff like that. And it looks like it's just opened up, ready to go.
Well, I haven't seen a mask in 2 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy, man. It's just a different world down there, right?
It's a totally different world, anyway.
When I first got here, Darren said, "Hey, I got picked up at the airport, had a mask on." He's like, "Yeah, throw that away." I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah," because he owns a golf course, right? So golfing quite a bit. And then the week I got here, I used to go out there with my mask on. He used to have signs, right, from the I guess the government or the county used to say, mask is mandatory, blah blah blah. But once the county opened up, he took all the signs down. He says, "I don't care what everyone wear. Do what you want. You got COVID, you got COVID. If you don't, you don't." No. But yeah, no, it's life is back to normal down here. And I see, I talk to my brothers every now and then, talk to a couple of guys back home and my buddies and stuff. And every time I FaceTime them or I see them at a bar, pictures, wherever, they're always wearing a mask. It's always down around their chin. Or
yeah. Well, this is interesting too, Blair, because it's really our first podcast kind of in July month, heading into the season. And so as they come up, we're going to have more stuff to talk about that's kind of in the here and now. A lot of this has been reflecting, looking back on people's career, but you've done so much. We got to do that with you. You've done so much in the game. And I know you just mentioned your brother, staying in touch with him when you're down there. And we talked a little bit about when you were younger and playing in junior, making the jump into the ISC. And we all know when we're going through that, it's really about what we're doing, where we want to go. And you probably don't realize that there's people looking at you. Two, for you, among a lot of young ball players in Newfoundland and across Canada, have always been looking up to you. But at what point did you, I don't know, maybe stop and look and say, you know, I think that my two brothers coming up behind me got a little bit of talent in them too. Was there a point where you realized that these guys could probably have their own journey within the elite level fast pitch and kind of pave their own way as well?
Well, Bradley for sure. It started when he was about 10 years old, and I was snapping off rise balls, and he was just snatching them out of the air.
That was self-defense, apparently.
Yeah, I don't think he recalls it like that, Blair.
When he was growing up, when I was coming through junior stuff, and I mean, he was playing Canada games, and he couldn't deny the talent. You know, it was always there. And just, you know, back in those days, those kids, when at a certain age, they wanted to play more than one sport. So Bradley was heavy into the basketball quite a bit. He had a lot of friends, so they did a lot of their own thing. Once he started realizing how good he was, I think that's when he kind of started taking it seriously. Now, he kind of followed my route, I guess, because I started playing senior when I was, 17. I mean, I had played one game of junior yet, and I was getting to play senior. I mean, same thing with you guys. You did the same thing. I remember you guys played that Frog City team years and years and years ago. Yep. Yeah, so, you know, Bradley kind of he started getting that mentality, and he started taking a lot serious than a lot of people his own age. And then stuff just fell into place. I mean, the talent just eked out. With Kyle, same thing. You know, I was a little older, and, you know, still we're all living at home during the summer months from school and stuff. And Kyle was still going through high school. So, hey, Kyle, let's go and have a catch. Never an issue. Let's go. After about the 75th rise ball, he had enough, and that was it. And he wanted to go play basketball or go with his friends. So, yeah, no, it was you couldn't deny their talent. I mean, you guys see, when you were coming up through, you see talent from every community, every pocket of fast pitch. And you know what? There's only a couple, maybe a fraction of people that kind of had to work at it to get where they are. You know, especially with us. I mean, our talent was there, but we had to keep building to get to where we are now. So, I mean, we all obviously have natural talent, but yeah, you got to keep building. And a lot of those guys at home, especially my brothers too, they had to play a lot. I mean, and that the talent came into play, but you still got to play a lot. You still got to see the pitch. You got to pitch yourself. If you're a pitcher, you got to hit. You got to field. You got to get in every scenario possible as many times as possible to get better. So that's where it came from.
That's awesome, man. Well, listen, the hard work certainly paid dividends, because all you got to do is go to the NL Fast Pitch website and just look up the career stats of the three Ezekiel boys, and even Ronnie Ezekiel's on the old website there, career stats. Yeah, but it's certainly amazing what you guys are after doing. But one thing I wanted to ask you, I mean, you're after playing with some big boys like you touched on earlier, Kitchener, New York Gremlins, Circle Tap. You've played and hit in front of and behind the likes of Patty Shannon, Travis Wilson, Jeff Goulagon, Steve Mullally, for fuck's sakes. Who are some of the guys? Like, who are some of the guys that you kind of attached to, and some of the guys that you kind of tried to model your game after, or that you would pick their brain, or you know what I mean? Who are some of your role models with regards to teammates? Because you've had quite a few Hall of Famers that have been on your team.
I mean, right off the bat, when I first joined Aurelia, that was the first major team. I mean, Heflin were pretty big. We were ranked 6th or 7th, but there's no one on the team I could really pick their brain or buddy up with, or no one really took to me as much as when I went to Aurelia with Lolly. And you had Sean there and Robbie and a couple other guys. I was young, so yeah, they had time. They had time to listen to the questions and answer the questions. But then I got to Kitchener. Patty Shannon was pretty big in my early days. You kind of second guess that when you got a Canadian guy asking a Kiwi guy, and a Kiwi guy talking to a Canadian guy about hitting and this. I mean, I asked him everything. What do you think I'm doing this? Do you see this? Do you see that? And he helped me. I'll give him props. And we're still friends to this day, and we'll always be friends. He was a big guy. Jody Ice was a big guy I could talk to. We took to each other pretty good when we played. Early, when I first joined Aurelia, and the early days of Kitchener, Wolfie was there too. If I had a question, it was answered.
Yeah, well, on that team, that was really special, because that's when things started to snowball, Blair, especially for you and I, because we got to make that jump. And then, okay, it's one thing to go and try and get your feet wet. We had a couple of years, but then all of a sudden, when we went to Aurelia, they're ranked number 1, right? And then it's, wow, you're here, and we're probably in our own minds feeling like we don't really deserve or not really ready to be there, but you get surrounded by these people, and you go through those experiences. And when the merger happened between Aurelia and the Kitchener team, it was really cool. And I think I brought it up on the podcast a couple episodes ago about when we went in, and remember one of the first couple of weekends we went in and we started drinking beer with Todd Martin. And you and Todd you and Todd have a special relationship. I know you're one of his favorite teammates, favorite ball players. He sings your praises every time your name comes up. but he had a pretty significant impact on your career. And I know that year in particular, he just brings everybody together. And we went in, I think we drank 50 beer. He said, "You're not leaving till the cooler's done." And that really started off your and Todd's friendship, which I know to this day is pretty special for you guys.
Yeah, well, listen, don't sell that story short. I mean, me and you were there. That was like
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
It was the first. It was the first major weekend we all got together of the merger. I think we went to Midland, right?
Yep.
I think this was Saturday night, so we didn't play Friday. So we played 3 games Saturday. I think we were playing the semifinal at 11 o'clock Sunday morning or something stupid. And, the merger happened. We all knew Todd. We all knew Todd growing up, from afar type thing, and finally got to play with him that year. And we're in the hotel room, and I might have been mine in your room.
Yeah.
Because there's no way. I think Marty might have been room with, I don't know, Evan Boyd or something like that. And God love
Boyd. It might have been. I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Boyd's a rum drinker, so he wouldn't have been drinking beers with us that late. So I remember the blue cooler at the end of the bed there, and we're not leaving till the last one's gone. But about 10 beers in of the 50 or 60 we had there, every beer that Marty cracked was he'd snap the can and, "All right, boys, this one, 2 more, and I'm out of here."
And it was like that until they were all gone. Every single time, this one, 2 more, 1 more for the ditch. Yeah. But the amount you talk about picking a guy's brain, you sit down and you're in the hotel room, and it's kind of like doing what we're doing on here. You have a laugh when it's fun and it's loose, and you get to know people off the ball field. Then when you're comfortable like that, you can just ask the questions, take it all in. There's really no fear there. Todd's been like that for a ton of people, but that really kicked off something special and a really special run with those back-to-back championships that you played hell of a role in doing that. And we want to dive into that first one in particular. In 2008, it was the first year or second year to merger, and we went down there. And we make it all the way to the championship game of the ISC. And I'll say it was one of the best championship games ever, even though I was looped on morphine because my shoulder was out of place. But watching what you did. Watching what you did in that championship game, man. If you didn't show up the way you did, we wouldn't have won. There was a couple of big moments in that game when you hit the home run. Can you walk us through kind of that game, but in particular that at bat, because you'll go down in softball lore as a professional hitter, one of the best hitters to ever played a game, one of the best clutch performers in big moments. And we'll touch on that a little bit later. But in particular, that moment, can you walk us through that game from your perspective?
To be honest, God love Dino, is one of I consider him one of my best friends in the game, and you guys as well. They're probably the funniest man in fast pitch. He's the best teammate ever. And it just so happened had to be off him. Hey, like it's just he was mowing everybody down for that whole game, and just listen to Jody and listen to Wolfie and Patty a little bit, and even yourself, Lally. You were picking up some stuff too. Just you weren't relaying a whole lot because you were whacked on morphine the whole time.
Remember, I had that friggin' thing hanging out of my lip, that acupuncture needle. Yeah. Anyway, but that's But we won't go off track. But yeah, you got up in a big spot there, right? Yeah, no, yeah. So no, the whole, I mean, and you listen to, I always drew off what Colin Abbey used to say years and years ago. Abbey used to say, you know what, whoever wins the game is the people who can adjust the most. If you can make your adjustments, you're gonna come out on top. So the whole game, Dino was just throwing. I mean, you were there, Lolly. Hilly was probably in the beer tent, pie-eyed there, usually. with the farm locals, yeah.
Certainly was, yeah. Collar was popped at that point.
Yeah, so Dino was just throwing. I mean, he probably threw at going into the 6th inning, he probably threw 80 pitches, 69 of them were Ross, or no, 79 of them were Ross balls, and there were just 100-mile-an-hour Ross balls. You couldn't square them. So I guess I got down to the late in the game, and I remember Patty saying, "Hey, I'm just going to swing as hard as I can, as usual. And if I'm going to try to hit a home run here." He said, "You do the same." This is because Patty was batting ahead. I said, "Patty, well, we got nothing else to do. We're both over 2K, so." Right, and so Patty hits a 3-2. I think the ball went over the fence and kind of came back towards the fence. It went that high. So he hit his, and as he crossed the plate, he said to me, "Do the same thing." And so, I mean, personally, I went in, I approached. And Dino's going to kill me if he hears this. So what I do, I used to call timeout. When the pitcher got on his rubber and get a sign, I call timeout and back out. The reason I did that is Dino got into a groove, such a great groove that I tried to throw him off. I tried to not tar him out, but get on the mound, get frustrated, maybe lose a pitch down the middle. And fortunately enough, the second pitch of the at bat, went down the middle, and I got a good piece of it and ended up in the bleachers. So that whole bat, I said, I'm just going to mess with Dino a little bit, try to get him off his rhythm. I know he's pissed off. Patty just hit a home run, so he's going to throw extra hard, but I'm going to try to mess him a little bit. So he got on his rubber, got his sign, tried to go to the side of the hip. I called time, back out. He stayed on the rubber. I did it again. He stayed on the rubber, and then he threw it down the middle.
Sorry, Dino, buddy.
You guys were down 3-0 or
3-0, and then Patty hit a shot. I hit a shot, and down 3-2, and then I think the next batter might have been like Sandy was in batting for Lolly because he couldn't hit, or Dan Loney or something like that. And they got out of the inning, and then we go to the top of the seventh, and Wolfie hits the first pitch. Dino throws the second drop ball he threw total all game. He hit into the Fox River. So,
wow,
yeah,
I remember that. I remember that game.
Yeah, something about Wolfie, man, and Eider in seventh innings of championship games. It was incredible, right? They could write a book on those moments. We got the walk away champs that year, then got to go back the next year, repeat it, where you got a chance to play with Bradley at that level. And Brad talked about it in his episode, how special it was to share that experience with you against Falkart that night. He was throwing BBs, couldn't see it, but you managed to get on in the sixth inning. Dino moved you over, and then your younger brother drove you in for the game-winning run for back-to-back championships. That's incredible, man.
Yep, it was. And we had such a special 3-year run there where, it was just, in my opinion, it was just inevitable, right? We came back in the year before off Dino and ended up winning in the seventh. And then we played the next year. We run through everybody, and then we run into the Folkart and the Bo Patsies and actually run the Cheese in the semifinal. I think we lost 1-0 on a blue home run by Reese. I mean, we also lost to those guys, so we had to play an extra about 1 or 2 games. And I mean, we had the pitching to do it, Donnie and Grant and Marty and Dino. And when Marty went down, and Marty pitched an unbelievable game in that Aspen game, which, I mean, if he don't pitch his 5 or 6 innings there, we don't win that, because then Dino would have had to come in, and then Donnie would have had to come in off not much rest. So, but yeah, no, that at bat, Folker hit me. I got on base, couldn't feel anything. I was not coming out. Oh, chance. I said, that fucker hit me in the fucking kneecap. That fucking hurts. I was kind of 25% glad he fucking hit me, because I didn't want to strike out for the second or third time that game.
Take one for the boys, Dorn. Get in there, Dorn, and take one for the team.
Exactly, yeah. So I got on base, and then Dino had a good at bat, and Dino hit a nice little single look to right field. And as soon as the ball hit his bat, I said, I'm going as hard as I can. Got to third, and Brad came up, and then Bradley came down. Bradley went 0-2 right off the bat. I think he might have swang through one, the foul went off, and then what happened was Adam was throwing so hard that game that he was just throwing righties inside so hard, so tough. I think someone called time, and I said, Bradley, just step in the bucket one time, whatever. I said, step in the bucket and try to get the bat head out and hit a chopper over third. And then, I think Folker threw a next pitch. Bradley fouled it off. And the pitch after that, I mean, there is a video you can see it. Bradley steps in the bucket like he's a Japanese player. They throw it like he does. He throws his barrel at it, hits it to the shortstop, and lucky enough the shortstop bobbled it, and I scored, and I guess the rest is history.
Yeah, and Dino throwing friggin'
miles
an hour and throwing the glove up on the air. But
that game, that was like a late game. I remember because we got knocked out. I feel like we got knocked out on that Friday or maybe even like Thursday, and we flew home because wasn't there a shit ton of rain that year? Yeah. And you guys played late, because I remember watching the video. It's pitch black and the lighting wasn't great. It's not great at the best of times anyway in the Quad Cities in Moline and the stadium there. But back then, that was before they even did work on the lights. And I just remember it was being hard, and Folker was throwing pellets. I don't even know if he gave up an earned run up until I don't think.
Yeah, he finished the tournament without giving up an earned run. Yeah. So we lose the Bo Patsies in the this 1-2 game. And then we had to play Aspen right away. We played them. So then we're waiting for after the Aspen game, we're sat there waiting to play again. And there's no Bo Patsies. We're like, where are they? Back at the hotel. We're just like, you're supposed to play half an hour, at this time, because it was the rain had pushed everything. They were just going half an hour between games. So we were just sat. I remember Bob Knight talks about this. He said, he's still pissed to this day how we had to wait so long for those guys to come back. And we're just, at the field. And, Iowa at that time of year is probably 35 degrees Celsius with the humidity. So we never had the most in-shape team in the world, but so a lot of guys were sweating for quite a bit. But yeah, no, came back, and Dino, he's one of the biggest gamers I've ever seen in my life. You tell him he can't do something, and he just does it. You just admire what he did, and Lolly was a part of it. He was out in right field or left field. He can attest to how he didn't talk to Dino. He was just dripping sweat, that little blue cap down over his eyes, and he just said, "Give me the ball," and away he went.
Dust Up with Hilly and Lolly is supported by Miller Lite. Great Pilsner taste with only 90 calories and 3 grams of carbs per serving. After a tough game, it's always Miller time. Please drink responsibly. Let's switch gears from the ISC to the Canadian National Championships. And looking down your stat line here, 9 Canadian championships. I mean, it has to be up there with some of the all-time greats. I mean, what is it with you in the Canadian Championship? And on a personal side, you're just racking up hits year after year at Canadian Championships. What is it about that tournament that makes you flourish?
Well, I don't know. It could be the people I'm playing with, obviously. Yourself and Lolly. Lolly got 9 as well. Don't sell Lolly short there.
Fuck him.
He got one with them foolish old St. Thomas boys, his first one. So
yeah, hey, we'll take it at that point. Haven't won one. We'll take them wherever they come. Right? I don't care where it was. But
championship's a championship. You don't matter how you get it.
And your first 2, Zeke, were they with Kitchener?
Yeah, my first 2 were in 09. Yeah, we played 09 in St. Thomas.
St. Thomas. Yep, that's right. Extra inning game.
Yeah, extra inning game. Yep. Next year, obviously in PEI, which I thought you guys were going to win it. Anyway, that was kind of my, I guess, deal you want to call it. When I came to Kitchener, that if I was playing with those guys, that it was automatic you had to go to the Canadians because they're a Canadian team. Other than that, I would have probably won with 3 cheers that year. And, going in, I said, Jesus, we don't have Wolfie. We don't have the pitching staff. We picked up Paul Core, God love him. He came through and won a championship game. I was like, geez, how much is Cordy going to give, this week? Because he hadn't pitched a whole lot that year. So, and you know what, whatever came through, it came together. We won that year. The year after, I think, that still kills me. We lost in Owen Sound that year.
Oh man, that was nuts.
Yeah. So I still think about that every now and then.
Me too, man. Well, I struck out in that game. I think I would have been the winning run, or tying run was in scoring position. Donnie Scott struck me out.
I think someone was on first, I think.
Yeah,
but go ahead.
So we had a runner on.
Yep.
You get a hold of one, you could be the hero and hit a walk-off. And it's Donnie Scott in the 7th inning of a big game. You know what you're getting with him. He's coming at you, and he beat me. And they beat us. But leading up to that tournament, the years before that, you still felt like we were taking our lumps and learning our way. But that year, in my opinion, we were good enough to win. I thought we were the best team there, but I think the experience, them having won and no one had to do it. That's where no one had to win, and being there and done it before. It took them over the hump and kept us from getting there. But then the next year, that really served as a fire in our belly, knowing that we were that close and everybody committed to going back. We all went on a run for, 7 championships in however many years, but every single one of them, Blair Ezekiel is at the center of it. He's batting in big lineups, coming up with big hits, and it goes all the way back to 2012 when we won our first one, the 5 in a row that we managed to do, and then it takes us all the way to 2019 when, thank God, you went to freaking Prince Albert or wherever the fuck that tournament was.
Grand Prairie.
Because the Grand Prairie, because the Blair Ezekiel showed up there, coming up with 20 RBIs. I don't know how many you had in the playoffs, but you were on a different planet when it came to ball, that tournament. So there's so much we can talk about in all those, but that one really stands out to me. Without those hits, without you showing up the way you did, and without our bats rallying behind our pitchers, without Sean, that was a special one because that was the one where we could have been considered an underdog going into that Sunday, and then you guys showed up. Me and Hilly probably didn't do too much those couple of days, but the Ezekiel brothers did.
There wasn't just me. I mean, you go down our lineup. I mean, we had a couple of junior kids in the lineup that come up with big hits too. And it wasn't just on that Sunday. It was the whole week. We had a pretty good week offensively, but with the team that we had to go through the motions type thing. Now, I'm not saying that arrogantly, but like the team we had hitting-wise, we could score some runs and win games 10-6, 10-5, 11-5, whatever, no matter what pitcher's on the mound. So I think that once we got to the playoffs, that's when, and it's throughout our careers, that's what we do. We show up, we focus in, we eliminate distractions, and we just make, do what we do. So yeah, that weekend, I mean, we lost that first game, and that fucking pissed me off. That fucking set.
I think that was a blessing in disguise, right? It was the winners. To an extent, yeah. And I'll give Colin's props. Colin came through and threw the shit out of it. Without it, we never had a really true number one, even though Colin is a really good pitcher. But our bats, I mean, that's Lolly. Getting back to your question is, what happened is just like and it's just not just me. Brad did the same thing. Kyle, my brother, did the same thing. Unfortunately, Jason twisted his knee and he couldn't finish off the end of it. But everybody did something. So, and we all put in our mindset, and in our pregame, huddles and our inning by inning talking and stuff is we had to hit our way to this championship, and then everybody bought in. And lucky enough, myself and you guys, we've been around enough to know that you can't just say it. You got to do it. You got to just make your adjustments. And lucky enough, I got to have Brad on base and Colin and Shane Bowen on base quite a bit. So that's where the RBIs came in. 20 RBIs. Somebody was on base.
Yes. That's what I mean. So, I mean, what do you want me? I mean, guy throws the ball down the middle. It's got to go somewhere. So
That's it.
I'll never forget, win that 3 games on Sunday. Just the relief at the end of it when we, Shane got that, and Lolly picked up that one hopper to first. When I ran out to the mound, I just realized I just started setting what we had done. I might have put on my own social media afterwards. I said, this is the hardest one by far. And no one realized it was. Even though we had the talent, we had the hitting, we had by far the best hitting in the country. You could put 3 teams together, they wouldn't have the hitting we had. But it was so, Lolly, it was so hard. Like, it was just, I was catching. So that just probably took a lot more out of me than everyone else. But I'm just glad I didn't have the fucking pitch.
Yeah, it was a special one, man. Like you said, like to win the 3 on Sunday, which is a rare feat in itself. It's probably only been done a couple of times. I'm not even sure, but we're starting to build up a little bit of a rivalry with the Sook Loggers team too, which is kind of cool. Like going, having rivals year after year at the Canadians, and to face those guys for the second year in a row in the finals, and to come out on top. Everything was pretty special, man. I must say.
Yeah, and I'll definitely agree with that. The rivalry stuff that just happens in sports, and when you're playing a really talented team so often, that stuff's going to come out.
But you've done 9 national championships, a bunch of other major championships under your belt. We consider you, I think I said it earlier, a journeyman of the game, someone that's put in the work. You've traveled all over the globe. You've played in tournaments. You probably played in more tournaments than any of my buddies that I grew up playing ball with. You're always striving to get better, make your teams better. When you look back on those major championships, what are the ones that stand out as the most special to you?
Well, I mean, you probably agree that every championship you win is pretty special, right? But
yeah,
I mean, there's always something that stands out whenever you win a championship, whether it be an ISC or whatever it is, a Nationals or an ASA or whatever. Even you guys with the ISF, there's always something small that stands out. That distinguishes yourself from the other one, right? So we won that 2012 Canadians. That was pretty special, just because it was our first ever for the province. We took
Monkey was off the back say.
Yeah, Monkey was absolutely. So we took and you guys were part of it for a bunch of years too. We took our lumps, we took our beatings, we took hey, Helmet. Thanks, buddy. We took how we going?
How's it going, boy? Down the Circle Tap. Look, that's service, I tell you what.
That's one of the local riffraff.
Yeah. That is so cool that you're down at Circle Tap now. So for our listeners, we're looking at Blair here. We're on Zoom. It's awesome. He's in the office at Circle Tap and just down there getting treated like a king. It's awesome.
Just getting tended on. Yes, I'll have it. Yes, I will have another beer, sir.
Yeah. I'm used to saying, Hilly, go grab us a beer out of the fridge, but we can't do that over Zoom.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah.
But you guys got little guys. They're getting old enough now. They'll be able to do that for themselves soon. So.
Yeah, pretty great.
The first ISC, the way we did it, Lolly, you were part of it, so that stands out. And you guys are part of it. The Pan Am qualifier in Columbia was pretty crazy.
Oh, we had that written down to talk to you. Just from
that was a bit.
Man,
that was wild.
Funny. There's so many funny stories from that I want to touch on. Some great ball stories too, with Andy Skelton hit that home run down there. And I remember when we just drove straight through when we got there. Yeah. And we're in Colombia. And then what do we know about Colombia? One person, Pablo Escobar. All right, What's going on? What are we getting into now here in Medellin? And we go down, and then me and Hilly checked in our room, and I was like, man, is it a holiday or something down here? Like, is there fucking fireworks going off or what? And Hilly's like, no, man, they're gunshots. And we're like, okay. Anyway, close the curtains. We're sleeping on the floor tonight, boys. And then we went down, and the food in the hotel wasn't that great. And there was that chicken shack. Remember that chicken shack, Hilly?
Palmer Chicken Shack.
Yeah, me and Hilly went down. You remember this, Hilly? We went down to the lobby, and we're walking to go get chicken. And next thing you know, the big old arm comes down on both of our hands, one on each of us. And here's 2 of the biggest guards you'll ever see holding AK-47s. Yeah. And he said, we said, what did we do? And he said, no, you don't walk alone here. He said, and it was broken English. And I'll never forget it. They're like, where are you going? And Jason said, we want some food. And we want to get some chicken, and they didn't know, and Hilly didn't know what to say. So he's there doing the chicken dance with the wings going like this. He said, I want some fucking chicken. He said, So the boys, two of these armed guards took us down there with AK-47s, walked us up to the chicken shack. We got a snack pack. They walked us back, man. It was crazy.
Yeah. Dude, imagine imagine getting escorted into Mary Brown's now by a fellow with an AK-47. Fucking SWAT team be there in 4 minutes.
Yeah, and I tell everyone that everyone that asks me about Colombia, country Colombia comes up every now and then. I'm like, boys, I was there for ball, and walk out of the hotel to go to practice. You had a guy on a motor scooter with an AK-47 bringing you to practice.
Yeah, crazy, right?
And people don't realize back then. I mean, Jesus, it was just crazy. Coming from where we're from, you don't see that, right? So it was kind of nervous, but it was it was fun. The experience. I mean, you guys probably say you say the same thing, and the experience was one of a kind. You'll never forget it.
Oh, and there's some deals down there though, Hilly. Like, I got a brand new Rolex for $10.
Oh yeah,
brand new Rolex, $10, and a pair of Gucci, Gucci, these top end sunglasses, $15. Man, I bought 4 of them.
Oh yeah, no doubt. They had the gear down there.
I'll never forget. We won. We won we beat Venezuela and whatever, and then we all given our hats and shit away to the locals and whatever. So we get escorted back to the hotel. We all get dolled up, have a few drinks, and remember the guy, the concierge in the hotel, spoke perfect English.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went out to the downtown core of Medellin, Colombia.
He went out with us.
He did.
He went out with us. Me and Matty Wah were pretty tight at the time. I was playing the Gremlins and stuff. So I remember being around, and everyone I was just so tired. Matty said he was so tired because it was a long day and it was 45 degrees. We're in a dance club and it's like a rave, right? You can barely hear anything. It's just strobe lights going crazy. And I look over and see Brandon Horn just bouncing by himself. And then Matty Wow, typical, I'm hungry, let's go. we go out to the George Street meat vendor on the side of the road, and Matty Wow gets some kind of burger with a tail on the end of it. So I'm dead serious. It looked like something you pick out the side of the road in Denmark, Wisconsin, and you fire between a blunt, and he ate it.
That's freaking gross, man.
Hey, that was a pretty crazy game, eh?
Yeah, and I remember, like you touched on it there. It was cool as hell. Like it was a real soccer atmosphere, with there was drums and there was fireworks, and we won. And it seemed like the crowd was kind of partial. I don't know if they had a rivalry with Venezuela or not, but 100%. The crowd was pretty well partial to us, right? They were cheering us on, and after we won, like they kind of, like I said, you give away our hats, and they wanted everything. Like I think by the time I got back to the bus, I was down to me Hanes, I think. Right. And anyway, it was like it was just like a mob. It was like Nick Jonas or something running through the MTV. You felt like Nick a pro Jonas, athlete. Like
yes.
It was like I was trying to do a comparison here, right?
Yeah, well, and that's where you went, Nick Jonas.
Yeah, he's a fucking big movie star or a singer now, isn't he, or whatever the fuck he is?
Nick Jonas, folks. Hilly, Jason, Nick Jonas Hill.
I didn't say I was Nick Jonas. Fuck, he's not that good looking.
There we go.
Yeah.
What an experience, though, man. And when you're looking back now, it's some of the moments, right? When you're looking back on a 20-year career that pop out and that are special. And I can still vividly remember Andy Skelton walking up to the batter's box for that at bat. Were we down a run or was it tied? It was either tied or we're down 1-0. And he got up against Eric Urbanay.
Blair knocked in a run. Blair hit a ball to left field, knocked in a run.
No. I led off. I went up with 2 outs and hit a single in the bottom of 6.
Okay.
Didn't you score with MJ or Mark Johnson or Abry?
Mark Johnson hit a chopper to kind of like the shortstop. He threw it away, and then Abe's come up and hit Abe's hit a dribble or like a sharp line drive to second base, and the guy kind of botched it, and then we scored a run, and then we had runners on first and second when Skelly come up then. Yeah.
And those balls down there, they're like a rolled up pair of socks, man. On a good day, especially with the humidity.
Yep.
A lot of balls that would go out in an ISC or North American ball field and things like that, they just weren't traveling.
They're probably one of the worst balls I've ever seen. I'm not taking away from what Skelly did, but they were probably some of the worst balls I've ever even felt in my life.
They were the worst.
No seams. They were. You could squeeze them. They were that soft. But Skelly hit one into the Colombian River that night, so that was good.
Yeah, we erupted, man. It went nuts.
it's funny, and I'll vouch for Lolly here. But Lolly, remember we had some kind of little pick on the pitcher there for most of the game, especially that little slurvy, curvy lefty curveball he was throwing the left-handers. Remember, I mean, Skelly was having a rough game. He was more focused on the pitching because he was just mowing Venezuela down all game. And then, we found something against her in Urbaneja, and then
he did something with his glove, and he did it early.
He did, yeah.
Early enough that we could see it from the dugout and relay it.
And, right, and
I still to this day I don't know if it even played a role, but it was something we looked at, and I know Skelly went up with a plan to hit the slow curve, and he's really good at holding his hands and his weight back, and he hit a pair of socks 450 feet, so he got friggin' all of it, didn't he, Hilly?
Oh yeah, it was cool, man. It was cool.
I mean, I'll never forget that. I mean, I was a DH that game. I looked and I remember him hitting that, and I said, "Holy shit!" I said that we're going to win the Pan Ams or Pan Am Championships, whatever you call it. So yeah, it was pretty cool. Once in a lifetime experience, I must say.
So you guys get home, like when you guys get together, like yourself and Brad and Kyle, like how does those conversations go around ball? Like, is it friendly fire, or is it like? I'm very interested in this.
I'm pretty. I mean, to be honest, I'll get to the serious stuff in a second, but I think I'm the only. Well, maybe not. Maybe the only Newfoundland sibling to ever hit his own brother in a playoff. So we're playing against Brad's playing the junior in 09 juniors, all Newfoundland, provincial championship, and Brad's batting like 950 for the tournament, and he's 2 for 2 off me already. It was a tie game or something. It was base open, so my catcher at the time, John Farrell, sticks out the old thumb. I was like, now, I never thought twice.
No.
So I threw a little four-seamer into his side of his back, and he went to first, and they ended up beating us, and that was it. That's when Bradley really came. That year he came really on the scene then, and he just exploded, and the rest is history. But no, we don't talk a whole lot about ball, especially in the last couple of years. Every now and then, if we're at like family stuff or birthdays or Christmases or Thanksgivings and whatnot, ball doesn't really come up a whole lot. It's more family right now because those guys have just had 2 newborns, right? So
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So it's more. I mean, there's not a whole lot. Sometimes the relatives will bring up about a Canadians that happened, a month before that. Or, there's not a whole lot as the summer goes along that we get together. We only see each other during the weekends or, during league nights. But no, there's not a whole lot of ball talk. You'd be surprised.
Speaking of Canadians, obviously there is no Canadians this year, but they're doing a version of, I think it's called the Rawlings Cup or Rawlings Invitational, whatever it is in Saskatoon. Are you planning on heading out that way?
Yeah, if the opportunity presents itself. But like I said, I'm here till the Worlds. The Worlds are till the 21st.
Yeah.
So, and I'm fully vaccinated, so I can go straight from here to there, or if I go home, it depends on the Newfoundland rules because they're so sketchy right now. There's like muddy water,
Fingers crossed it's all open, but I think you're good right now. We're open up to the rest of Canada right now. So
yeah, but if I come through the border, it's a little different than international. So I will see. But yeah, no, I plan to. Still working through that type of thing. I'd like to have probably one final crack at trying to make the national team and represent your country and go from there.
Well, and I think that's what that tournament is really geared up to be this year is a showcase. They want a commitment on guys getting out there and getting a chance to play. And there's a big couple of years on the horizon, and the national team is going to need the best of the best showcasing themselves, and whatever roster they put out is going to give our country the best shot it can at coming away with that major championship. So it's great to hear that you're going to be going there, and awesome to get on here. 3 of us will catch up over weekends or at nationals. We'll always, after our game, we'll go back to either your room or our room and debrief and catch up, but it's not as frequent as it used to, especially when you get on different ISC teams and different schedules, and you only get to run each other on passing. That's why the going back and playing with Newfoundland is so special, and I think it is why we have a lot of success. We genuinely enjoy playing together and look forward to that, and it just brings out everyone's natural ability, and it's been special to be a part of. But getting you on here and getting to catch up and walk a little bit through your career, what you've done in the game. One of the best ball players on the planet, have been for a number of years. It's been special to catch up with you. Hilly, I know we've looked up and saw Blair since we've been 13, 14 years old. It's awesome to see what he's done in the game. Yeah,
absolutely, man. I mean, I'm following your career. I've been teammates for a long time. Ever since you started spinning that ball at me in Holyrood, that's when I got the itch to be a pitcher, and it was great to catch up, man. And fingers crossed we can cross the border here at the end of the month and play some ISC tournaments, catch up at a bear tent somewhere, and shoot the shit for real.
But Blair, 2 things before I let you go. One, when I look back, when we played together in Aurelia and in Kitchener. It doesn't come up a lot. You know, I try and stay humble about it. But I took down the Kitchener Poker Tour Championship. Still to this day, I got that gold bracelet, and you were part of that friggin' championship run. For our listeners out there, we had a weekend, almost like the World Series of Poker, every weekend, playing tournaments, banking points, and then bang out at the ISC final table. Guess who walks away with the championship? I still put it in Jody Ite's face, in Todd Martin's face, and Patty Shannon, and Ian Fairman, and your face. I am the friggin' reigning champion, KPT, and you can't take it away from me.
You're not wrong. I'll give you that much. Yeah.
Don't even justify it, Blair. Just say nice chat with you. Talk to you guys later.
Yeah. See, right? That's someone who doesn't even know what a pair of aces is.
No,
right?
those poker. I mean, that was more of a team thing bonding. Like that was our first year of the merger, right? So
yeah, it was awesome, right? And then,
pretty fun, yeah.
And then one of the other things that stands out to me, and I don't know, we're probably too old to do it now, and it might never present itself, but when we're down in Frankenmuth staying in that motel, we had a double bed separated by a single bed. I was on the left, Hilly was on the right, and you came over for those 3 weeks when we played in the under-23s. We got 3 hairy-arse young men with fucking 3 ball bags and cleats and all the clothes going around and beer cans and pizza and everything, man. It was a frat house in a motel room, and it was awesome, man.
I think that's going to be tough to do because I think after that summer they said no more ball players staying here.
I think they bulldozed the hotel after that.
Yeah. But the stuff that you think back on now make you laugh. It was special to go through all that with you and to still be able to team up with you. You know, wish you nothing but success this year. Looking forward to seeing you on the ball field and seeing you do what you do. So thanks a ton for coming on, Blair, man. It was awesome catching up with you.
Awesome, boys. Yeah, hey, thanks for having me. Too bad we didn't have much more time to get to some more stories, but no, I'm sure we'll have a couple of pops here when you guys cross the border, and if not, I guess maybe in the fall or maybe Christmas time we'll see you guys again.
Yeah, absolutely,
man.
We'll run into you down there in the beer tent, buddy, and get caught up the way we do. But Hilly, another great episode here with one of the best the game has seen.
Absolutely, man. Great catching up with Zeke, and he's certainly accomplished so much in this game, and he's still doing it at this stage of his career. So, like I said before, another one of the Zeke trio, man, just putting up numbers.
Very good, right. So, well, with that, Blair, we got Lucas and Nick here. We're going to get a little bit of rum ragged to take us out and let you get back to Circle Tap, buddy.
All right, boys. Hey, thanks for having me. See you soon.
All right, buddy.
Cheers, buddy.
Get out of here! I told you, Mr. Drama.
I used to be a ladies' man, but I'm unhappy now. For courting 6 girls all at once, they used me.
Bye-bye baseball!
My mother said it was naughty, I should place nearby. But I said if it's naughty, sure it's also very.
And Maloney drops his glove, grabs Dalton. The benches are clearing.